Welcome to the deep dive. So there's a lot swirling around right now, isn't there? Economic shifts, talk of tariffs, supply chain stuff. It's kind of noisy.
It really is. And all that uncertainty, it has a very specific effect we need to talk about.
Right. And what we found digging into the research is that the absolute bottom line impact for businesses is, well, it's on your buyer's attention.
Exactly. Their attention gets consumed. Suddenly they have less bandwidth for anything that isn't, an immediate pressure or perceived risk.
And without that attention, obviously, sales revenue can just stall out. It's a huge issue for companies facing disruption, but it also ripples out, affecting almost everyone.
Uh-huh. So today, we're going deep on how this uncertainty really shifts the ground under your sales strategy.
Yeah, and crucially, where the opportunities are hiding in plain sight if you know where to look. We've sorted through the analysis to find the most critical takeaways for you. Let's get straight into it.
Okay, so this instability hits. What's the first thing that happens with your customers, your potential buyers?
Well, from my own perspective, if I'm worried about costs or things feeling unstable, I'm probably not thinking about big, ambitious projects. More like battening down the hatches.
That's precisely the shift the research points to. Customers tend to move away from thinking about innovation and growth.
The exciting stuff.
Right. And they pivot hard towards risk mitigation. They get reactive, focused on protecting what they have, managing immediate problems. It's about stability, not necessarily expansion.
So that aspiration for big games gets replaced by just defending the core business.
Pretty much. Their focus flips.
Right.
And if your sales strategy or messaging doesn't recognize that flip, well, you're in trouble.
What kind of trouble? Like, what actually happens if you keep pushing the same old innovation message?
The sources are pretty clear. Your pipeline stalls, deals slow down, get put on hold indefinitely. Revenue targets suddenly look much harder to reach.
Ouch. So just trying harder with the old message isn't the answer. It might even make things worse.
It can definitely backfire. It makes you look like you're not listening, like you don't understand their current reality. Being strategic here isn't just nice, it's like survival.
Okay, so buyer's focus shifts. We get that. Where's the first place we need to shift our strategy? What's the immediate pivot?
It has to be messaging. That's the first lever you can pull, and maybe the most important one right now.
So not a product overhaul, not changing the whole sales team structure, just the words we use. Why start there?
Because that's how you connect. Remember, their attention is scarce, and their priorities have changed. If your message is still hitting notes from 6 months ago.
It's just noise. Or worse, right? You said it could make you seem out of touch.
Exactly. Completely out of touch with what they're actually dealing with day to day. That's death for a sales conversation.
Definitely want to avoid that. So as we're looking at our own messaging, what are the crucial questions we should be asking ourselves right now?
The research really boils it down to two things. First, what are your customers really concerned about today? Like specifically.
Not what we think they should be concerned about, but what's keeping them up at night.
Right. And second, how does your solution directly address those specific current concerns? You have to draw that line very clearly for them.
It's about building that bridge, isn't it? Showing them, look, we understand this challenge you have right now, and here's precisely how we help you solve that.
Perfectly put. It's about relevance. One source stressed that the message has to speak directly to the outcomes buyers are seeking now. Vagueness just creates friction.
Makes sense. Be specific about the current pain and the relevant outcome you deliver.
And you need to be laser-focused on enabling their desired results in this climate, not just generic benefits.
And in this noisy, uncertain environment, there's another key element the material really hammers home for messaging.
Clarity. Absolutely paramount. Think about it. They're already overloaded. Your message needs to cut through like a knife.
No jargon, no fluff, just purposeful communication.
Exactly. A clear, compelling message that says, here's how we help you get the specific results you need right now. That's what gets heard.
Okay, so step one, relevant, clear messaging. But even with the perfect message, uncertainty creates another big problem. People just don't want to do anything. Inertia sets in.
That's the next hurdle. Uncertainty breeds fear, and fear often leads to inaction, right? People freeze. Businesses, too. They hesitate on big decisions.
So our job in sales and marketing changes then. It's not just presenting facts.
No, it's got to be about inspiring action. You need to cut through the fear by providing clarity, yes, but also by building confidence.
Confidence that moving forward is possible and that you offer a safe path.
Exactly. Your efforts need to actively counteract that inertia. Show them a viable way forward.
How do you actually do that, though? Inspire action when everyone feels like hiding.
Well, a few things come up. First, equip your salespeople. Give them the tools, sure, but crucially the language to articulate that clarity and
So
confidence.
they can have those conversations effectively.
Right. Second, your marketing needs to be consistent and focused on value, constantly reinforcing those messages and supporting the sales team. It's an integrated effort.
I also saw a mention of using stories, like case studies, perhaps.
Yeah, the principle is powerful. Showing examples, even if anonymized, of other companies navigating this successfully, adapting, getting results. It proves it's possible.
It makes the path forward feel less theoretical, more achievable.
Exactly. It counters the fear. There's a great line about how great sales and marketing teams don't just inform, they inspire. They paint a picture of what's possible.
So it's about leaning in during these times, not pulling back, but leaning in with relevance and resolve.
That's a good way to put it. Relevance and resolve.
Yeah.
Now, this leads to a deeper point the material raises. Stepping back from the immediate tactics, it brings up Drucker.
Yeah, Peter Drucker. What is our theory of business? That fundamental question.
Yes, because this level of uncertainty can actually shake the foundations of that theory. The core assumptions you've built your strategy on might just not be true anymore.
Wow. So how we thought the market worked, what customers valued, how we delivered it, all potentially outdated.
Potentially, yes. What worked 6 months or a year ago might be totally misaligned with today's reality. That's why having a clear, current strategy isn't just important, it's urgent.
So we need to be asking some pretty fundamental questions about our own business right now. Like, what?
The material prompts a few critical ones.
Hmm.
Are your buyers' priorities really the same as they were a few months back? Honestly.
Probably not for many.
Are your sales conversations hitting what matters now? Or are they still on autopilot from before?
Good question. Need to check that alignment.
And is the whole team, sales, marketing, product, everyone aligned on how your solution creates meaningful outcomes in this specific context?
That's key, not just tweaking things, but potentially a deeper strategic realignment.
Exactly. It's about ensuring continued relevance and finding the path to growth now, not just hoping things go back to normal.
This idea of focusing on outcomes in the current context ties into another concept mentioned, the revenue growth engine. What exactly is that?
Right. So one source connects consistent revenue growth directly to building business value. Makes sense, right? Predictable income is valuable.
Of course.
And the revenue growth engine is presented as the system that delivers that consistent revenue, even when times are tough. It's not just random activities, it's an integrated machine.
Like the engine in a car, all parts working together.
Good analogy. It's marketing and sales aligned around that outcome-driven message we talked about.
So they're not separate silos doing their own thing.
Ideally not. It's teams collaborating effectively to create and convert pipeline. Both pieces are crucial.
And there's more to it than just activity.
Oh, yeah. It involves measuring what works, constantly optimizing and scaling up both finding new customers and getting more business from existing ones, cross-selling, upselling. It's a whole system.
So having this kind of well-oiled machine becomes even more valuable during uncertainty.
Hugely valuable. The sources suggest companies with a strong revenue growth engine are the ones positioned not just to survive, but actually grow through this. It provides resilience.
It sounds like a lot to build or refine, especially now. But you mentioned earlier, there's actually a potential advantage for companies that act now.
Yes, and this is maybe the most exciting part for proactive businesses. Think about it. Many competitors will be paralyzed. They'll stick to old ways, cut spending, wait and see.
Right, that fear and inertia we talked about.
Exactly. So for the companies that don't freeze, that actually lean in, align their message, enable their teams, optimize their engines,
There's an opening.
a significant opening, a unique window of opportunity. By acting decisively now, you can gain a real strategic advantage.
What does that advantage look like in practice? What are the potential outcomes?
Well, you could come out of this with a much stronger market position, having built deeper relationships while others were quiet.
Okay, that makes sense.
Your underlying business value could increase because you've proven you have resilient systems for generating revenue. That's attractive.
Yeah.
And strategically. You might be positioned to gain market share, maybe even acquire competitors who stumbled because they weren't prepared or proactive.
So these challenging times don't just expose weaknesses, they also highlight and reward strength and adaptability.
Absolutely. It's about unlocking that potential. The actions you take or fail to take right now will significantly shape your future trajectory and value. It's a defining moment.
So it's not just about survival. Seizing this moment is actually about setting yourself up for greater success down the road, becoming stronger.
Precisely. The takeaway is that this isn't just a period to endure. If you act strategically, your business can emerge not just intact, but as a leader, the kind others wish they had become. It turns disruption into opportunity.
Okay, so wrapping this up then, the big theme. Uncertainty eats attention. That's the core problem.
Right. But understanding that dynamic, seeing how it shifts buyer priorities, that's the key.
And then adapting, strategically focusing on relevant, clear messaging, inspiring action, and strengthening that integrated revenue growth engine. That's where the opportunity lies.
Exactly. It prompts reflection on those critical questions. Are we truly addressing today's concerns? Is our message clear? Is our engine running smoothly?
And for everyone listening, the final thought, perhaps the call to action is, what's the one single thing you can do right now, based on this, to connect better with your buyers in this climate?
Yeah, what's that immediate first step to start building a more resilient business? That's the crucial takeaway.
A great point to end on. Thanks for taking the deep dive with us. And just one last thing to ponder. Looking ahead a year, what will separate the companies that just survived from those that truly thrived through this? Think about what actions you need to take today to be in that second group.